Alrighty, so I wanted to go over a fun way to make your sketchbook spreads feel a bit more cohesive, especially when they're just sketches. So usually I'll take some markers or maybe a liner, something a little bit larger like a marker or even a fine liner, honestly, and we won't be finishing these sketches but just adding a little something to them, though I do recommend going the cheaper option if you don't have any of these, just because cheap option works just as good. Right, so I will be going with the Crayola this time, and I'm just going to pick a couple complementary colors. So I'm going to go with yellow and then maybe a purple. And let me find the one that I want. Perfect. Alrighty. And so what I'll end up doing is sometimes I will go over and just add a little bit of color around the character, and this helps a certain sketch stand out. If there's one in particular that you really like, you can use this method to make them stand out a little bit more in comparison to the other sketches. And that just helps bring things together and get some color on the page, makes the sketchbook spread look a little bit more fun without it being a fully rendered piece, right? Because for sketchbook, we really do want to utilize it for what it's made for, which is sketches and brainstorming and figuring stuff out, but it's okay to also add a little bit of whimsy to it to help it feel a little bit more fun. And then you can also do other things like adding stars and circles, fun little shapes and designs. I will be adding some stars today, and I think that really just makes a sketchbook spread come together that much better, because who doesn't love a little bit of a star moment? So I will go in around the sketches. Sometimes, depending on what kind of pencil or pen you've used, you can even go over the sketches, and that is totally fine as well. I do recommend, if you've used just a regular pencil, to be cautious though, because the markers can definitely smudge the pencil, but go ahead and add them all over the page wherever you'd like, and I really do think that it helps bring it all together, because now these separate sketches that were originally just each their own piece, now they're kind of pulled together on a whole cohesive page and spread. And I think it really just helps bring some more fun to the sketchbook spread without it being overly complicated and without you putting pressure on yourself to do a really rendered, perfect sketchbook page every time. And this just helps bring more little fun moments. You could do other things too. Stamps would work fine if you had washi tape maybe that you wanted to use up. If you had leftover paint that you wanted to add, of course make sure it dries or your pages might get stuck together, but today I just wanted to do something simple and run through with some stars. And I would recommend, as best you can, bring both colors over if you use more than one to each side of this spread, and that way you're tying it together even more. Because if you just do one color on one side and then one color on the other, it's gonna separate the spread, and that's not what we're going for, at least not with this with this tip here. We're wanting something a little bit more cohesive. So, and then now I will also recommend going back and taking a look at the original page, and if you decided to outline and highlight one particular sketch and maybe you're feeling like that just kind of drives a wedge in the rest of them, feel free to add some more to other sketches. Even if they aren't your very most favorite, you could just add a little pop of color here and there, and that'll help kind of pull the focus away from that one being the only one highlighted, right? Because the other ones, I get it, those aren't my favorites either, but we just kind of want to keep the focus from being only in the one spot. We want to bring it all over the page. So go in and add you some stars, add a little fun squiggle. You can even do swirls or whatever you want. It does not have to be anything in particular. This is just a fun way to add more color and more overall design to the sketchbook spread, give it a little bit of an aesthetic look to it without you having to stress over everything being perfect. So I highly recommend this if you have not done it before, and if you have, I'd love to see your sketchbook spreads, because it's awesome to be inspired by each other. So I'd love to see what you've done. I always love a good sketchbook spread. So And I've also seen where other people do really elaborate interactive pages, but this one is just a quick, simple, easy way to make your sketchbook a little bit more aesthetic and a little bit more fun with just very cheap supplies. So I hope this helps. Bye!